Hey guys, my name is Tom, and today I'll talk a little bit about creating a brand identity or an identity for you as an artist. We'll talk about why image is important, what image is, what your touch points are as an artist with your audience, what a target audience is, and then I'll give you a basic overview of how you can create your band identity. So maybe a little bit about myself first. I studied music in my bachelor's in Germany. I studied music and creative industries in my master's. I've played in several bands over the years, and I've also done artist management for my own bands, but also for other bands. So I kind of know the music industry side of it, but I also know the creative side of it and trying to get your story straight, your message, but also how you can sell your music and how difficult that can sometimes be. So let's maybe start with talking about why image is important. It's exactly what I just said. You want to sell your music and you have to get your story straight. This is what image does, basically. So maybe some of you guys think, well, image, I don't really need that. I'm authentic, I just do what I want, and I just tell that to my fans, they know me. Just go on stage wearing the stuff I wear at home. But you kind of have to understand that that is already creating an image for you, because you're always communicating, and basically that is what you do when you create an image. You're always presenting yourself to the public, and even if you say, I don't need image, I think having an image is shitty, that is defining your image. So it's the way better question basically would be, is my story clear to the audience, or is it confusing to the audience if you talk about image? Because I've worked with a lot of bands, and I know the feeling myself that you think, well, most of the time we are, for example, a political band, we are a serious band, we tackle some problems in society, but we are also funny, and we also talk about a lot of different topics. And then what happens a lot of times is that you communicate all of that in the same amount, and then people don't really get anymore what your band is really, really about. And that's what we're trying to do today. We're trying to find a way to narrow down the most important topics for your band, to get your story straight and to get the message that you really want to communicate to your fans or to your potential fans. So another point why it's important is, if you do that, if you have a clear message, then this enables you to have a loyal fan base. Because if you have a clear message, people know what they get when they listen to your band, when they go on your homepage, when they see you in interviews. They know what they get in return for listening to you. And this creates a loyal fan base. And of course, in the next step, this leads to being able to sell more music, sell more merchandise, and have more plays on Spotify or any other platform, V-Kontakte, for example, in your case. So, what is image? Image is, in general, it's the overall impression that you present to the public. And you can present yourself to the public in several ways. You have several touch points. And I just want to go over some of the touch points, or in the best case scenario, all of the touch points, because there are quite a lot of them. The first thing you maybe think about is that, of course, your music is a touch point that you have with your audience. And that's true. I just have worked with a few bands that told me, well, why do I need to talk about my music? Why do I need to present myself, think about my image? The people just need to listen to my music, and then they know what we are about. They'll understand me. But I think you just have to realize that we live in a times now where people have an attention span of about 3 seconds, and that's not enough time for them to listen to your music. So you have to find also other ways to communicate your message and to let people know what you're about. So your first touch point is music, is your lyrics, of course, that defines your image, but there are several more. So, for example, the look of your band, the look of your pictures, the look of your videos, of your stage design. This is also something that falls back on your image and defines it. And the third part would be communication in general. And communication means everything where you communicate your message or where people talk about you. So you have social media, you have interviews, again, videos, pictures also is kind of a communication, blogs, email, newsletters, your homepage, but also reviews about your band, how you are presented on TV and radio, how advertisements present you, and also how people talk to their friends about your band when they go home from the show, for example. So you have communication that you have under control, but you also have communication that you don't have under control. You just have to be aware of all of that is part of your image and part of your touch points. And the last part and last touch point that you have is the product that you sell. So, for example, do you sell vinyl? Do you sell CDs? Are you only releasing your music digitally? Is it for free? Or is it really expensive? Do you have exclusive packages? It can do a lot with that as well. And why I talk about this is that because if you have a clear message, all of those touch points should be coherent. They should all make sense together. For example, if you are a punk band and you say, we're against the establishment, we are critical of the establishment or the society, and then you have a product that is really expensive and only rich people can afford, doesn't really make sense. People will be confused, they don't understand it anymore, what you're doing, and then you don't have a really clear image. So just be aware of that all of what I just said in sum defines who you are for the public. As I said before, image is the overall impression you present to the public. So I would also really quickly like to talk about who the public is. The public basically means, in this case, who is your target group? Who do you want to present yourself to? Who do you think will enjoy your music and enjoy your message that you have as a band and will buy your products? So you should always be aware of who the people are you want to reach if you think about your band identity or your image. Nowadays, it's quite easy to get a little bit of information about your fans or about your potential fans because you can have social media analytics. You can look at how old are they, do they have money, how often are they online, but also try to think about what are their interests besides music. Maybe it's possible for you as a band to connect emotionally with them over different topics that don't have anything to do with your music at all. So just keep that in mind as well when you try to sell your products, but also try to do Facebook posts or create an image for your band. So these are general informations now. I'll go into the overview how to create your band identity. But before, I just would like to say that it's very important that you are honest with yourself when you do this and that you try to be as authentic as possible, because it doesn't make sense if you come up with this great concept who you could be, but your band members don't really feel comfortable with actually doing it. So you should try to find something that feels natural to you and kind of still is a unique concept. Okay, so with saying that, we'll go now into the 3 steps of how you can create your band identity. Basically, you can imagine it like a circle, and there are 3 layers. So in the center, you have your core values. Around that, you have your band personality or brand personality. And on the outside, you have your visual identity. I'll go through all the steps now, through those 3. Just keep in mind that the center obviously is the most important thing and that affects the other layers and so on. So, talking about your core values. Core values means that this is what you really stand for. This is what you fight for. This is what you really believe in, what your band is about in the essence. And how you can find out what that is basically just talking to each other and trying to narrow it down to 3 to 5 words or small short statements. So for example, You'll have to talk to each other, find out, okay, what do we believe in? What is really the most important thing to us? And then you come up with 3 words like, okay, we are provocative, we're funny, and we're fighting for the environment. Maybe you would say, okay, you said this has to be unique. So if you just look at one word, which is provocative, there are a few bands who are provocative. There's nothing special, basically. And then there's a lot of bands who are funny. There's also a lot of bands who fight for the environment. But if you mix those words together, you've created something that is unique in the market that you're in, maybe. If you're a metal band and you're funny, provocative, and fighting for the environment, right now, nothing comes to mind that is like that. So that's what you should try to do. Come up with a mix of words that is unique in your genre. You should also try to avoid empty words if you do this. Avoid, like, for example, we are different or we are unique, because that basically is saying nothing specifically. Try to be as specific and clear as possible with this. And if you have those 3 to 5 words, you should also try to talk about it again with your bandmates and define them, because for your bass player, being funny means something completely different than being funny means to your vocalist. And now, maybe the most important thing for the core values, those core values should not change over decades. This should really be something that you all believe strongly in, and then that you feel like you can go along with this for a long time. Because this is the thing that you always communicate with everything you do, and people will realize that at some point, and that's how they get loyal and how they understand you. So try to really find something that you believe in and that fits for everybody. All right, so this is the first step. The second step would be your band personality, or brand personality, if you want to look it up online. Here, you try to describe your band as one person. So you're not describing your band members, you're describing like a band persona. And what you do, why we do this, this is because you want to try to get a sense for the tone of your band, for example, for the vocabulary of your band, and you can go more into detail about your core values. We had funny. What does funny mean? Is it sarcasm? Is it slapstick? Is your band, is it loud, quiet, distant from your fans, or close to your fans? You can also go ahead and just describe interests that you have besides music. It's just to give you a feel for who you are together and how you would act in interviews, how you would write Facebook posts, Fachkontakte posts. So the overall tone and vocabulary is set. If you have done that, you should check again with your core values and see if this fits, if it goes together hand in hand. So we have step 1, core values, step 2, band personality, and now on the outside, we have visual identity. This is maybe the first thing that comes to mind when you think about image, but actually it's the last step that you do, because now with the core values and the brand personality, it's quite easy to define how you want to look like, basically. So if you said our personality is loud, extrovert, then you might use bright colors and in your visual identity, and also loud screaming pictures, if you can say so, or videos that represent your band personality. Again, visual identity is also about, besides colors, it's about how the overall look of your band is, how your videos look like, how your pictures look like, and how your homepage looks like, how your Instagram feed looks like. So basically everything people can see is what you try to define here. And if you have defined an overall style, it makes it way easier for you to create some ideas for videos, or to create ideas for your pictures, because it's not like sometimes it happens that, well, you sit there and try to come up with a concept, but you can't really come up with anything, or you're not sure if it fits your band. And by having that visual identity defined once, you can always just look it up and be like, yeah, okay, it fits. And also, if you've done that, if you define your visual identity, go back, check if it fits your brand personality, and go back and check if it fits your core values. So basically that's it. I know that sounded quite easy and it's quite short, but just be aware that it's quite a difficult process. You will have to talk a lot to each other. You'll have to have discussions maybe, or maybe even a fight. It's okay. You just have to come up with something that you all feel comfortable with. And in the end, you will profit from that and have, I think, way more creative ideas and a better feel for your band. So thank you for listening, and I hope you have fun now with creating your own band identity.